Hi everyone. Oh dear, yeah, halfway through having a cup of coffee because my dear guest tonight, Rebecca Gibson, really needs a refill of coffee. Like, how long have you been awake for?
Since yesterday morning. So
Yesterday morning.
yeah, I woke up yesterday morning.
And haven't been to bed because work?
Yeah, I work night shift.
Night shift.
And a 4-year-old. And
And
a
a-
business.
And a business and a 4-year-old. So, and then knowing that she couldn't go to bed because she had to do this interview. So we're just dragging out a bit. So, hence the coffee in front of us to keep us awake. So at least we can talk to each other. So, all right. So we'll go back to beginning of time.
Oh my goodness. 50,000 lives ago.
Oh, wow. And I know you're a very spiritual person,
Yeah.
so, you know, I will touch on that further on down. And let's look at, you know, what you've been through as a young person with child abuse.
Okay, so I was sexually abused by my grandfather. I kept it quiet. I did try and, you know, in a childlike way, tell my mum for a while, but wasn't believed. Even as an adult, like when I told her, she still grappled to believe me. But you know, that's what happens when people disclose this stuff. A lot of people around don't want their bubble burst about who the person is, because who the person is very different to them as who they are to the child that they abused. But my spiritual abilities and my abilities as a psychic medium really helped me move through that as a child. So my guides used to come and visit me and tell me that it was a soul contract. People really have a difficult time understanding this, but I've kind of proved through my life that my connection to the other side has really guided me. And they would tell me that it was soul contracted, that I would understand later. I would use it to help heal other people, and it would be a big part of my soul purpose later on in helping other people and heal. And
So when did this start for you? Like,
probably
spiritual side?
Oh, the spirit. Well, I've always been a psychic
Ever since
medium, ever since I can remember.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So working in psychiatry, so I work in psychiatry. It is considered to be dissociation, and yeah, there's diagnoses for it, but it's very much concrete, grounded energy and being visited by deceased loved ones and stuff. So,
Is anyone else like that in your family?
My mum's mum, she would talk about it every now and then. She'd call it the Fae, and otherwise no one really sort of talked about it. I grew up in a Catholic household, went to Catholic school. It was not believed, frowned upon, and my parents didn't like me talking about stuff like that, so I learned very quickly just to be quiet. It wasn't supported.
So it got stronger and stronger as you got older?
Yeah, I tried switching it off a lot, especially in the environments that I've worked in, and working in mental health. The two don't mix well with each other, so I would try and shut it down and sort of get on with my life and be very left brain and academic and not have that spiritual side of myself. But I've learnt now that I do embrace that part of myself, and I am holistic in terms of being authentic. My health is much better, everything's much better. When I ignore that part of myself, I would get very ill. I had many near-death experiences from times that I've nearly died and having surgeries and stuff. And since I've just embraced the true, real part of who I am, I'm much better.
So you mentioned about health and that situation. So with your health, you had
I have
lupus?
a diagnosis.
That's
Yes. I've got a diagnosis of systemic lupus and fibromyalgia and some other autoimmune disease. So now I have bone disease because of all the medication that I've been on and off since I was 17 at first presented.
So you've had a kidney removed, is that right?
Yeah, I had multiple kidney surgeries, clots in my lungs, most of my stomach's been removed. I've had multiple surgeries along the way.
Well, you just keep going. And the miracle of all this is your daughter.
I know.
Because you weren't meant to have
No,
children.
so I got told for multiple reasons. I got told I couldn't have children. And lo and behold, 39, here she is, big surprise. And so they used me as a case study. I had her in Brisbane, and they used me as a case study for the university, for new doctors coming through because of my medical history and some miraculous things that happened, because most of my cervix had been removed from cancer, and my cervix kept growing throughout the pregnancy, and I had a deformed uterus that's no longer deformed. And I know, it's amazing.
It is amazing. Like, that is truly amazing. That is a miracle in itself, isn't it?
So
Like,
exciting.
oh, like, and she's 4.
Yeah, she's 4 going on 14. She's killing me.
As they are, as they are. You know, and I guess too, you know, going through the trauma when you were young, and then you've done full circle because you've ended up working in the prison system with pedophiles.
Yeah,
So
I
how
specialise in sex
confronting?
offenders.
So you specialise in sex offenders?
I did, yeah, when
Yeah.
I was in the prison system, and now I work in the hospital system, and mainly dealing with people who have been abused rather than the abusers. So I did corrections for 10 years, and I've been in the hospital system on and off for 13.
So how confronting would that have been to actually work with the pedophiles? Or was
I
that to you a
knew-
forgiveness thing?
Well, yeah, forgiveness. It was very cathartic for me because the power exchange was very different then. I had all the power in those relationships, and I learnt that they hate themselves, they despise themselves. There's nothing that I could say or do that was going to make them feel any worse than what they already felt. And it was very empowering for me because I knew it really had nothing to do with me. It was all about my abuser and his issues, and I didn't have to blame myself. But it took until about 3 years ago I released a video for Unique Foundation, have a retreat for adult survivors of, I don't like survivors, I use warriors. Adult
Warriors.
Yeah, warriors. So adult people who have experienced childhood abuse, they have a retreat for a week, and all this counselling and group work is, so they were raising money, and they asked anybody who had a story, would they tell it, and however many views the video got, they would donate $1 towards the retreat.
So this is Unique Makeup, is
Yeah.
that right? So could someone investigate that and...
Yeah, it's
Like,
just online.
Yeah.
I like to tag all my clients that I have now so they can see how different I looked 3 years ago as opposed to what I look like now, and just the transformation physically, because people are very visual, for them to see the transformation in me physically just from releasing shame and not walking around with a big heavy dark cloud secret over my head and keeping it to myself.
And I guess too there'd be a lot of my viewers out there that have kept that secret for many years, and like perhaps after sitting and watching us tonight and listening to your story, that they might be thinking otherwise. So what was the thing that made you speak out? Like what was the thing, or whatever it was, that made you say, right, I've got to tell someone? Becoming a mum,
To
yeah.
a little girl especially, and wanting to role model to her to be empowered and speak up and be truthful and use your voice, and not to keep secrets, and never allow a power exchange where she feels like she has no power or no voice. And I couldn't exactly do that if I wasn't doing it myself. So I did it.
So did you... Okay, so let's go back to the day that you did it. Did you go to your mum and just tell her straight away? Did you go to a professional?
Nope. I'd already spoken to my mum previously after my dad died. Wow, 10 years ago today, far out. So
10 years ago today.
Not today, but 10 years ago this year, I mean. So Dad died 10 years ago, and I think I told her maybe a year after to sit down and have an adult conversation. It didn't go down very well. And I thought, I'm just going to get on with it. And then I had my daughter, and I thought, no, I can't. I need to speak up, and I need to tell people why I decided to go work in the prison system, and why I decided to work with pedophiles and sex offenders, and what led me to that.
And that was a
to start
conscious
being honest.
decision to go and do that.
And it was very much guided by the other side, my soul. So I allow my soul to speak to me instead of my ego all the time. So we have ego and soul. And my soul is very much, this is what you're going to do. I actually started out thinking that I was going to be a lawyer. I had grown up my whole life, I'm going to be a lawyer, then I'm going to be a judge, and then I'm going to lock them all away, and it's all going to be about punishment. and I started my law degree, and then a freak accident happened. There was another miracle. That's a big story. And I ended up going into, my guides came to me, you need to go into nursing. And within a year of nursing, you'll be in correctional centres working in mental health, and that's how you will help. And you will help to get into the head of the abusers and see whether or not you can actually change one of them at a time. So I did that. I just followed the
And it happened
of the
exactly.
other side. It happened exactly how they said it was going to happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll talk about your program in a moment, but you also lived through a situation with your best friend.
Yeah, so trigger warnings upsets people. My best friend who I worked with in 2005, she was going through some issues, and she ended up shooting her 2 children and a husband and herself. So that was life-changing for me. It took me a while to move through that. It's still a bit raw. So what's that, 13 years? Yeah. Doesn't seem like it was 13 years ago.
So what's something that, just for my viewers, if someone is going through a similar situation themselves, what's something that worked for you, that, you know, helped you get through that? What was something that you did for you, or...
Truthfully, I fell apart for the first few years. There was an accumulation of just one thing after the other. So there was her, and then I had a lot of issues with work and inmates, and I was working down at Long Bay, and there was some issues going on with my safety. And then my dad got sick, and then I was nursing him, and then in the midst of that, my marriage fell apart, which was my second marriage. And so there was a lot. So I wasn't very healthy at that stage, and the stress had affected my lupus, and I had clots in my lungs, and I wasn't coping for the first few years, and kind of hit rock bottom around 2010. It all just got too much for me. And then after that, I just realised I needed to be spiritually healthy, and I was ignoring my spiritual health, and I was ignoring a huge part of who I was. And I needed to really embrace gratitude and forgiveness, and it completely changed my life.
And how did you... Because, I mean, we're spiritual. We relate to that.
Yeah.
But for someone that's not even perhaps as blessed as we are, how would someone embrace that? Like, what would be something
about
that...
going within. We're so used to looking outside of ourselves for answers, or someone to rescue us or save us, and no one's coming to rescue you. No one's... You have to do it yourself. And the only way that you can do that is to start to sit down and have a good look at who you are as a person. What is it that you truly want in life? Stop allowing life to happen to you, and you start happening to life. You create your life. Life doesn't happen to you, but I was in this downward spiral of life happening to me, and I was just like being in a washing machine, just boom, 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 you know.
And I think a lot of people give up on that situation, don't they?
Yeah.
And they do go within, but on a negative form, and that's when they can curl up and say, you know, I can't do it anymore. You know,
Well, that was me, but mine was manifesting physically, a lot of dramatic physical health stuff going on. And it took my specialist telling me you'll probably be dead by 45 for me to realise, oh, I don't actually really want to die. But I'd been carrying on like, if I die, I don't care. Because I just like, what is the point? I can't keep doing this. And it took for me to actually have that confrontation of, oh, wow, I really don't want to die. And my whole life's completely different.
And you would never think that now. I mean,
Completely
that's the thing. You go through that situation, and at the time you think, that's the answer. You know, if I just didn't wake up tomorrow, it would just help me get through everything, and I'm okay with that. Then suddenly, when something happens in your life, it's quite beautiful, and like you now have a beautiful husband and a gorgeous daughter. So life is really wonderful for you. So when those sort of things start to get into your life, you know, you start to think differently, and you think, well, wow, how could I have ever done that? I would have missed out on all of this. You know, like, how could I even think that way? And I guess you know, gaining the strength to pick yourself up and to keep going is an amazing thing to be able to do. And a lot of people...
have to.
Well, that's what you have to tell yourself.
Yeah.
You know, because no one is going to physically come in and put a coat hanger on your back and fix you up and say, right, there you go, the battery's in now, off you go, walk and lead life. No one's going to do that for you.
And it's exhausting feeling sorry for yourself, and it's exhausting not being true to who you really are as a person, and it's
Coffee.
sleep.
Coffee.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting putting on a performance for everybody all the time.
And that's what it
to
is, a
make
performance,
everybody
isn't it?
around you feel comfortable, because you're so afraid of being who you truly are. And I would dull myself down a lot, because I grew up, you're too emotional, you're too sensitive, you're too dramatic, you're too this, you're too that. So I'd learnt to constantly dull myself, and it's not healthy.
And not to show your true emotions, I guess, too.
Yeah.
It's like you put the mask on and you're just like a robot.
Yeah.
You know, you're the perfect daughter. I'll just go and do this and I'll just go and do that and off I go. Yeah. And same scenario.
And I kept achieving and nothing was
Good enough.
satiated. I just wasn't fulfilled.
So now you're fulfilled.
Yeah.
And I mean, life's beautiful.
Yeah.
And all the elements of life are just gorgeous for
Yeah.
you. And then you had this, well, how did you have this vision of empowering women and having your show that you've got?
All divinely led.
Yes.
And I had ignored this part of myself. I really felt that I had to not spend all my time in psychiatry anymore. I had to embrace my abilities as a psychic medium. I don't call them gifts, because we're all inherently psychic. And I had to answer the calling, and it was just at me all the time, and it was eating away at me. And then I actually had this very weird occurrence with a white light, and then I started channeling the next day.
Tell us about that.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah, no, because I'm interested too.
I'm glad it was all on dash cam, because my husband didn't believe me, he thought I was putting it on
Well, we've got the proof.
So my daughter was about 1, and we were coming out of the farmers markets in Newcastle, and coming out of the markets going to turn right onto, is it Griffiths Road?
Right, yeah.
Maybe 12 car lengths in front, the light was green, so I've just moseyed on in, and she's on the passenger side in the back. And I'd gotten into the first part of the intersection, and this white light, it was blinding, like I was blind. The car stopped in the middle of the intersection, I couldn't see anything. And then a car doing maybe 20, 30 k's over the speed limit went straight through the red light and just missed the front of the car by like this much. She would have been killed. And I was really weirded out after, and I thought, well, maybe it's just shock, like what the hell just happened? And then I went home to my husband and I said, the weirdest thing just happened. This light, the car stopped. It was like we were going to get killed. And he's like, oh, whatever.
Yeah,
He's being a drama queen. And then he got on the dash cam and he's like, what's that light? I said, I don't know. And he's going, what is it? So he made me drive him out the next day at exactly the same time.
And see what the white
He's
light was.
measuring where the sun is, and he would have hit the reflection, like reflected off the mirror, and could it have been this and could it have been that? And he couldn't work it out. And anyway, so I went home and picked up a pen and just channeled for 4 hours every day for weeks, months actually, all this stuff. And then I just answered the calling. I just couldn't not do it anymore. It was too compelling. So they just said, you need to come out and tell everybody about your abilities. You need to have this spiritual based business. You need to start helping people wake up, and you need to start empowering women, and for them to understand that now it's the time for the feminine to be healed, including the masculine, because we all have masculine and feminine energy. And so now most of my clients are women that have experienced abuse, have had abusive relationships, and now wanting to answer the calling to who they truly are as a person, rather than this performance that they've been putting on most of their life to keep everybody happy.
Which is tiring.
It is, it's exhausting. You get in your 40s, I just can't do it anymore. And then I started Golden Goddess TV, which is a YouTube channel, and I speak to women such as yourselves about dark times in their life and what they do or did to get out of it, and what life looks like now, just to show everybody it doesn't matter what you're going through. Honestly, it doesn't matter what it is. There's always a lesson, and there's always a blessing in the bitter. I call them bitter blessings. And if you really stop and look and change your perspective about what's going on, you'll see why things happen and what you need to do as a result. And because of my spiritual beliefs, I understand that there are all soul contracts. We make, the big traumas, we contract for those to happen, for the lessons. And I'm really glad that I decided to just be me and move through these things healthily.
So where do they go to actually watch this show?
Just on YouTube, it's called Golden Goddess TV. I've got 3 episodes up so far. I'm a bit of a tech reject. It takes me a while to edit them, so they don't come out as often
so
as
you
they
edit them?
should. Yeah, I do.
Thankfully. I know that mine went on and on and on and on.
I edit them, and so it's, on YouTube and on my website too. So I've got a URL for it as well. So goldengoddesstv.com.au. Can't remember.
Oh no!
It's
Okay.
.com or .au, but it's on my website.
It'll be one of those.
My website's my name, so it's just a page on my website as well. But it's easier just to find it on YouTube.
So YouTube, Golden Goddess TV.
Yep, Golden Goddess TV.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. And hopefully a lot of people will actually go on and have a look at the 3 shows that are on there.
Yeah, there's 3 on there so far.
All right, that's fantastic. And one of them's not me, is it?
No, not yet.
Thankfully.
Yours is coming.
Yeah, well, okay.
When I edit the rest of it.
Yeah. So around about the year 2020, you're going to see my show. So I know we're laughing and it's fun and everything's wonderful and all that, but I also know that, there are people out there and that are watching the program, or they actually know of someone, might be someone in your family, a girlfriend or whatever, that have gone through certain situations in their life with an abusive relationship or sexual abuse within families or friends, or, just all that horrible, horrible stuff. And what would be a message of hope that you would give someone watching the show tonight? What's something a message that you would give that particular person? If you want to look down the camera there and, open your eyes.
Every single bitter thing that happens to you has a blessing. That is the absolute truth. I have been through some horrible, hideous, traumatic stuff, and I have wanted to die. I've not wanted to kill myself, but I was hoping, I had a volatile relationship, hoping maybe he'd kill me, or maybe my lupus would kill me, or I had a contract on my head for a while and I was kind of happy about that. And then I realized that gratitude for what you do have and forgiveness is nothing about the other person. It's completely about you and releasing all that negative pent-up anger and those emotions that can be very toxic. When you forgive, you're releasing that from yourself. So if you can embrace forgiveness and gratitude, your entire life will completely change. Your appearance will change. I did not used to look like this. People do not believe me.
I want to see the before and after shots.
I did not look like this. I used to be 148 kilos and was extremely unhealthy.
What?
Yeah, I did not look like this.
148 kilos.
Yeah, people don't believe me. It's true.
Okay, so what I'm going to do in the comment section on this show is I'm going to put a before and after shot.
Oh, there's not many before shots, let me tell you. I wouldn't let anyone come anywhere near me with a camera.
Can't we just put one?
I'll find something.
Yeah, find something
or
that
dig something out of
can show us the difference between
the archives that are buried deep in the earth somewhere.
We'll recognise you. They've all been confiscated, right? Out of all the family
albums.
albums.
Spiritual health. You can't be a holistically healthy person if you don't exercise your spiritual health.
Is your husband spiritual?
He used to be, and then he sort of went through some stuff and left it to the wayside, and now he's coming back around again. But he's very physically healthy, so he's a bodybuilder. So he understands that if you want to be healthy, you need to put effort into it. Being spiritually healthy takes effort. It's not like you just wake up one day and like, I'm spiritual and I'm going to be spiritually healthy. It doesn't work like that. You've got to put the effort in. You have to be mindful. You've got to live in mindfulness. You need to meditate in whatever form that is for you, whether or not it's listening to guided meditation or running or walking or swimming or singing. I love to sing. Singing's very healthy and gets everything moving and all your cells buzzing.
And even if you can't sing, I mean, even if
Yeah.
you haven't got a voice, or you
There's
feel
an app
that you
called
haven't got a
Shmuel.
voice.
There's an app called Shmuel.
Shmuel.
And so I sing in the car late at night on an app, so no one can hear me out on the street. I do.
So,
do, 'cause
now
it's
what's the app called?
Shmuel. It's a horrible word. SMULE. I love it. It's just karaoke. You just
Oh, so you
sing.
actually sing
Yes.
with the app?
Yep. You can actually sing with real singers. Like the performers actually will put their part on there. I sang with Sil the other day. I pretended I was a rock star.
Okay, we'll put that in the comments section because I think it's a really important app. Like,
It is.
you know, like it's just so. Yes, my producer over
Shmuel.
there is showing me
I
the
love it.
app,
I love Shmuel.
and I think that's pretty cool myself.
It
So,
just shuts your mind down, stops you worrying about things, because your ego's always at you, chatter, and it's always negative. Like your ego doesn't like to tell you really good stuff all the time.
well, yeah.
Your ego will be at you about all this fear-based stuff, and your soul, can't be heard when your ego's blah, blah, blah. So the whole point of meditating or finding something that's going to shut that part of yourself down is to just quieten your mind so you can hear your soul. Because your ego will want to crap on about past, or it will want to make you worry about a future that may or may not happen, and you're not living in the now. Once you start living in the now, and you just pay attention to now, everything changes.
Yeah, and I mean, it might not be that particular app, but hey, find it. And,
Anything, whatever.
and I'd love some feedback to let me know, if it worked for you, because, some people meditate, and it works for them. Some people do other things, but let's just try that app. Like, so everyone try the app and let's just see what the feedback is. I am going to try it myself.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, well, I think I'll be trying it, and I think in the car's probably a great place because then I'm not
out on the street away from everyone. That's what I do.
Well, no one else is going to hear it. That's the thing. That's the thing that I'm thinking to myself. Well, no one else will hear it. So if it's that bad, it doesn't matter. Safely. Oh yeah. Okay. So I've just been reminded. You're in the car. Remember?
Oh, you're not driving. Do not drive and Shmuel.
Oh
Don't
no,
drive and
I'm
Shmuel.
thinking
No,
driving.
not driving. No,
I'm thinking driving along Shmuel. Like that is not very responsible of me.
No. On the
No.
street.
Okay.
Outside on the street.
Please, everyone.
No, don't drive and
Pull
Shmuel.
over. Okay, I'll tell you what. Pull over into your garage.
Yeah, do it in your
Put the garage door down.
Without
Put
the
it
car
on.
running, do not have the car running.
No,
in the
don't turn the
garage.
car on because I'm not advocating that. But I was thinking that. But I've made that mistake. Like I've really made a fool of myself here. And the more I say, the bigger the hole that I'm digging. But I'm trying to be responsible in saying I did not mean that. What I meant was turn the car off. Like, do not get booked because I
And do
thought
not
that
drive and Shmuel.
No.
And do not leave your car
because you
running.
might
if
get
you're
carried
locked
away.
drive.
Like I know I would get carried away and take my hands off the wheel because
Oh,
I'm
no,
a.
no.
Well, look, my hands are always going.
Don't,
Like
don't Shmuel and drive.
no, okay.
I've
Get
got
that warning.
hashtag.
Do not
Hashtag
Shmuel
don't
and
Shmuel
drive.
and drive.
Yeah, hashtag. That's right. We'll
I've got
put that up.
meditations on Golden Goddess TV on YouTube too, so I actually do guided meditations.
Oh,
for people.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I hope everyone will get on the YouTube channel and at least respond to our interview this evening. And you also do readings and that as well.
Yeah.
I hear.
So I've got my business. as
How does
a
someone
psychic
contact
medium.
you for?
I have a website. It's www.rebeccagibson, which is rebeccagibson.com.au, and you can book readings through there. If you're local to the Newcastle area, once a month I do readings half price at a beauty salon in East Maitland called Little Miss Gorgeous.
Such a great name.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, so she's one of my clients, and I have a Golden Goddess Circle. I have a women's circle once a month on the last Wednesdays of the month in Newcastle, and just helping women to embrace their true, authentic selves and their spiritual health, and teaching people that spiritual health is just as important as mental health and physical health.
Absolutely. Well, I'm hoping that tonight, a lot of people got a lot from this, and I mean, it was very relaxed, and you're still awake. That's the main thing,
I
right?
am.
You're actually right to the end.
I thought
it'd have to be a bit of
sentences.
an elbow there, stop you from snoring, but we've managed to get through it. And thank you, Rebecca, for joining us tonight. Thank
You're welcome.
you.
Thanks for having me.
So each and every week, I thank some of the beautiful people I have in my world that support this show, and I'd like to say a couple of little thank yous. So Varel Hardy, thank you so much for joining in each and every week. And Shireen Lowe, Vidyashik Modi. My gosh, I got that right, Vids. And now that's why I call you Vids for short, because it's a lot easier to say that than it is to say that other one. But anyway, hi Vids. Vids was on last week. And Colleen Dandelion, how are you going, Colleen? Gillian Shearer, Debbie O'Donoghue. Thank you, Debbie O'Donoghue. Like, you are an absolute legend, because I see your name come up so often. Thank you very much. And Sam Caldwell. Sam was on the show some weeks ago now, telling his story about the loss of his father. And it's really lovely to see that, you know, each and every week your name's up there as well. And Remy Castle, thank you, Remy. Kelly Mills, thank you. Kelly was also on the show. Yeah, well, there you go. Hi, Kelly. There you go, the old crew. We've actually kept her awake, and yeah, and I hope she gets home all right and stays off that app. And Louise Perkins.
You'll be hearing me in the street. You'll hear it from here.
I want to hear it before you leave. Georgina Harry, thank you, Georgina. And Yamini Mehta. Well, YAMMINIMEHTA. And I know that that's my Indian crew. And I hope I don't disrespect you for not pronouncing your name, but I am an Aussie and I'm trying really hard. And I know each week I'm going to be presented with these names that I'm going to have trouble with. So Suzanne Price, that was an easy one. Chris Rourke, Adrian Ponfix.
Hey, Adrian.
Hey, well, there you go. Adrian.
I heard most of my stuff.
Oh, Rainbow Runner is the best.
Everyone go to the Rainbow Runner.
Yeah, Rainbow Runner, Beaumont Street, Hamilton, the best. And if they haven't got what you want, Adrian will get it for you.
Best selection of cards and books
Oh,
ever.
the cards are beautiful, aren't
No,
they?
I've got a bit of an addiction to cards. I don't
Yeah.
even use them for my clients. I must have about 60 decks.
Yeah,
I'm
great.
making my own.
We'll interview you after when you've done that, and we'll get you back to tell us about that and to show us, and we'll get them into the Rainbow Runner. We've got Brett Marks. Well, hi, Brett Marks. Like, Brett went to school with my son, so I've known Brett since he was a little one. So Brett Marks, hi, and Emma Bell, Lyndall Dixon, hi, Lyndall. Philip Barrington, thank you, Philip, also. And Wayne Lennon, thank you very much, Wayne. Well, there you go. Another cheerio. Another cheerio from the sideline. And, you know, no matter what in life, you know, if you experience if you experience anything in life that's not right for you at this time, you know, go and get help, talk to a friend. I know I say this each and every week, but it's so important to share the load. Like, don't take it on board. Go and tell someone, talk to someone. If you haven't got anyone that's close to you, go and tell a professional. Or the other thing is too that, you know, I advocate Lifeline, because
absolutely.
Lifeline are just amazing. You know,
Mental Health have a 1-800 number as well.
What's the number? Do you know it?
1-800 something off the top of my head, I can't remember. But you can also ring the Mater Hospital and they'll give you the 1-800 number to ring for the mental health hotline. You can Google it. Wherever you are, just Google for mental health services or suicide hotlines or counselling services in your area, and there are free services everywhere.
That's what we want. So, I mean, you know, don't live with the pain on your own. You know, share the load and just talk to someone. You know, pick up the phone and talk to Lifeline. If you don't feel like you want to share it with someone that you know because it's far too painful, you know, that's okay. Talk to Lifeline. Talk to one of the mental health services in your area. And we're just getting an 1800 number right now that I can share with you. So it's 1800 011 511. So that's 1800 011 511. And I will put that up in the comments for everyone as well. So for me, you know, in life, no matter what, just don't give up. Know that you're valuable. You know, every human has their value somewhere. So no matter what, don't give up and know that you're going to be okay. And I thank you everyone for joining me tonight. So, you know, in life, you're going to be okay. Thank you, everyone.